Kamala Harris literally aided and abetted the enemies of America, and she even bragged about it.
Biden always said that he wants you to be the last person in the room, particularly for big decisions, just as he was for President Obama. He just made a really big decision. Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
And you feel comfortable?
I do.
Yeah, I'm not. As of course, $7 billion worth of American taxpayer-funded weaponry was literally just handed over to, the Taliban. As yesterday, they allegedly did a parade of all the new shiny equipment that you and me paid for. But hey, according to the corporate press, Kamala Harris is the perfect person to be the next leader of this country and, of course, the spearheader of our ever so complicated foreign policy because I gotta check my notes here. Do you know? Do you want a treat? Because I guess she's a black woman. There's that superficial trait that they keep running on. As of course, American foreign policy just got that much more complicated with all the crazy stuff developing inside of Ukraine right now, as there's development after development that is just eye-opening, to say the least, as the Ukrainians are literally making a massive incursion into Russian territory. There's another bombshell of Hunter Biden going to the State Department to ask them for help for his lucrative contracts that he got from Ukraine with the entire Burisma scandal. And now we have an official explanation to what caused one of the largest ecological disasters on the face of this earth, and that was the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline, which allegedly was done by 3 drunk dudes. Yes, you heard that correctly. That's the official story. We're not buying it, as the Wall Street Journal has a very eye-opening account of the events that unfolded, describing, quote, a drunken evening, a rented yacht, and the real story of the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage that, of course, geopolitically was one of the biggest escalations when it comes to the larger proxy conflict between Russia and the United States. As, of course, this was the event that, of course, made energy prices go up and decoupled a vast, significant portion of Russian influence away from Germany. The pipeline took billions of dollars to build, destroyed all in just one drunken night with one scuba diver and a rented yacht? Is that really what happened here? Well, that's what we're being told here, as we're also getting other salacious events surrounding this, as of course there's probably a lot more to this, as the Wall Street Journal did actually confirm that Volodymyr Zelensky, the current president of Ukraine, approved the plan and last minute was trying to, of course, stop it. Yes, you heard that correctly, as of course the reports are that Volodymyr Zelensky personally approved this plan and then tried to unsuccessfully call it off. As it's important to note here that a lot of elements here could be absolute fake news in order to cover up the larger truth of what actually happened here. As it's important to note here that this is the same mainstream media that for months, ever since this happened, was trying to blame Russia for doing this. And on face value, that was just ridiculous. Everyone said, hey, that's kind of crazy. Why would Russia blow up their own kind of infrastructure? Why would they blow up one of their own pipelines that's providing energy to Europe, and Europe is paying them for that particular energy that they're turning into wealth in their own country? Why would they ruin such a lucrative kind of deal that they had by stopping it? So do I believe the mainstream media now? No, but I am going to carefully look at their larger arguments here and then assess it from here. As it is important to note here, the corporate media, a bunch of propagandists that will say anything for a buck. And we do have to wonder why this story is coming out now, as we're finding out that Germany just issued an arrest warrant, as of course, one of the biggest losers here is Germany, as their ability to secure energy is a national security threat to itself, and this blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline absolutely sabotaged its larger kind of independent energy goals that are also undermining its economic success. As we're finding out that an arrest warrant was issued for a Ukrainian national whose last known address was in Poland, that the German authorities are looking for right now, along with 2 other accomplices that are responsible for this larger ecological disaster that, of course, made energy prices go up in Europe, while also, of course, shifting the seriousness in the larger proxy conflict that's happening right now inside of Ukraine. Now, will these individuals be actually arrested and held responsible here for their actions that, of course, caused massive, severe environmental damage, especially to our ozone, especially to our atmosphere? As, of course, where's all the crazy weather gooder activists? Where's all the environmentalists? Where's all the other people saying, hey, this is absolutely crazy? As, of course, we had none of that. We had the corporate media literally lying to you, gaslighting you, saying, yeah, Russia just did this on its own to itself and just shot itself in the foot for no reason at all. And you better believe it there, bub, or else you're a bunch of Russian influencers and propagandists. And of course, we were like, hey, no, your story just doesn't make sense. Russian propagandists. And again, that was absolutely ridiculous. And now we're finding out, as the corporate media is not apologizing, they're not retracting their stories. They should. They're giving us a totally different version of events here. This says it's important to note that Germany, Denmark, and Sweden all opened up investigations into this incident, as the Danish and Swedish investigations were closed without even pinpointing a suspect here. But it looks like Germany has 3 of them, giving us some kind of explanation to what happened on September 26th, 2022, after several explosions were detected along the pipeline that led to the major gas leak that affected our environment. This, as German investigators allegedly found that it was an actual German yacht that was rented by a Ukrainian national that probably was responsible for all of this. 2 of the 3 suspects got on diving gear, went in the water, and then they used some kind of explosives that they later detonated and then, of course, blew up the pipeline. This, as the suspects are now believed to have gone into hiding, as there's also reports of Poland not honoring the European arrest warrant for these individuals, as there's details of them now allegedly fleeing back to Ukraine before the search warrant could be, of course, issued. The cost of this operation, allegedly just $300,000. Yes, that's a shoestring budget, especially in the intelligence agency circles. And according to the official story of events, the CIA learned of this plan and then told Volodymyr Zelensky to abort it immediately. And then he went still ahead with it, causing 800 million cubic meters of gas, equivalent of 3 months of Danish gas supplies, to escape into the Earth's atmosphere. All of this as Ukraine still officially, after this story, denies any kind of involvement in this particular matter. Now, I'm kind of left with the larger question, why now? Why are we finding out about this particular larger kind of aggression and the larger responsibility of Ukraine, allegedly, for doing this right now? As, of course, I think it's fair to say the biggest loser in all of this was Germany. Germany has investigated this, and I think it's fair to assume that Germany was the country that, of course, released this information to the general public, as, of course, they're the ones who got screwed over more than anyone else in this entire matter, as, of course, one of their major sources of energy was literally just blown up to smithereens. So could the Germans just be kind of angry here, trying to get some kind of restitution and responsibility here for this entire action? As personally, I think something deeper is happening here, and they might be throwing Ukraine under the bus here, as, of course, the Western elites might not be happy with their latest actions that are also escalating this conflict, but at the same time, it could be the one that's puppeteering and, of course, stringing them along in order to do so. This, as Joe Biden previously declared that if Russia invaded Ukraine, there won't be a Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and, of course, the pipeline was destroyed. Former State Department Representative Victoria Nuland also made very similar threats to Russia, saying specifically, Russia invades Ukraine one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward. And it didn't. It got blown up. As, of course, Germany was the biggest loser. The biggest winner was America. That, of course, gets to sell their more expensive, least effective energy now to Europe at a premium. That, of course, Europe was dependent on, since, of course, it was in the middle of an energy crisis while all of this kind of unfolded. Now, with these kind of declarative statements made by American government officials, I think it's kind of fair to assume here that a lot of the larger decisions that are very aggressive, that are very bad, that are made by Ukraine are always kind of accidents, are always kind of coincidences, they're always kind of Ukraine just acting on their own and not listening to the United States and not listening to the CIA, not listening to what they're told to do, and they just accidentally, severely make a major impact against Russia. As of course, I would say that this probably is used as a larger kind of cover-up effort for the escalations that the United States and the intelligence agencies probably tell them to do, and then later try to cover up their larger involvement in. That is just my assessment, but how else do you explain the continued support and the continued pipeline for the military and army that you're supporting that just doesn't do what they're told to do? They just don't listen. They don't cooperate. They don't work with you one-on-one. They time and time again just say, yeah, you want this? I'm not going to do this, but you're going to keep paying me now. That's not how it works, especially since the United States is in a more position of advantage here. And the Ukrainians are more dependent on the United States government in order to, of course, sustain and support their operations that allegedly they're always going rogue with. Again, I think that's a larger kind of misnomer here and probably something that isn't in all actuality what is happening here. But also at the same time, we're also dealing with the same administration that is responsible for the Afghanistan debacle that, of course, gave them billions of dollars of U.S. weapons. So, again, I think anything is plausible here, but I don't believe in coincidences in 2024. If you don't either, you should sign up to lookUnfiltered.com, because when you do that, you get access to a lot of incredible offers of value that support this independent media organization, as we have on-the-ground reports, walk and talk, stream of consciousness videos almost every day of the week. We have released a bunch of them, and we have a brand new video just exclusively for members later on today, right after this video. Also, members get the ability to call in to our show. Our live show has been doing incredibly well, and we have been doing some really fun, cool things. We just had Dr. Kate Shanahan on. We just had Billy Carson on, and the conversations that we had were absolutely next level. If you haven't watched those yet, what are you waiting for? As of course, if you are a member of LukeUnfiltered.com, you get the ability to call in to the show, participate in the conversation, and actually be a part of them in a totally unfiltered way. We have people that are able to call in. Those people are members of LukeUnfiltered.com that, of course, have signed up to our platform, and it's quick and it's easy and it's simple to do that. Whatever your budget is, you just click here, put in your information, you get emailed back a login, and then you get a plethora, 3 master classes, a forum, a members-only t-shirt store, seed oil cards, crap list items to avoid at the supermarket, and of course the Telegram channel where I am personally in there talking to you guys directly and then organizing you guys being able to call in and be a part of the larger shows that, again, hundreds of thousands of people see, all through, of course, your direct support and participation on LukeUnfiltered.com. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below, and we, of course, will be providing you special content right after this one, as of course we're still not done here. We still got so many different things to talk about, especially when it comes to the larger Hunter Biden news, as the New York Times just broke the story that he was asking the State Department for help securing a Burisma project in 2016, highlighting the larger kind of collusion of the state and private enterprises that enrich the children of politicians that set up the policies that, of course, they reap the benefits from. As, of course, everyone else, the Ukrainian people, screwed over, especially with just how corrupt the Ukrainian government has shown to be. This, as they have now launched a major incursion into Russian territory, which the Associated Press describes as a Ukrainian gamble, as they are going deeper and deeper into Russian territory with a major, bold move where, of course, the Russians were not prepared and ready for, as, of course, they did not have defensive lines, they did not have military positions, and the Ukrainians essentially walked in to a major key area away from a lot of the fighting that predominantly has been happening in the east. As The Guardian today is reporting that Ukraine has full control of the Kursk region, as this proxy conflict now for the first time since the 1930s has advancing troops on Russian territory, taking it away and holding it captive by a foreign country. As, of course, the city is also a key logistical city associated with, of course, the major gas flow with Ukrainian pipelines from Russia that still makes its way into Europe, as we're getting reports of more than 80 settlements also being taken over by the Ukrainians after their, quote, surprise offensive in this region. This, as it looks like the Ukrainian forces are going to continue to advance into Russian territory, angering the Russians that, of course, declared this a major red line that has been passed by the West. This as the Ukrainians also have launched a major drone attack on 4 Russian air bases and allegedly also shooting down 1 enemy jet. This as, of course, it's a major escalation that, of course, sets the stage for the raising of the stakes, as, of course, a lot of people are still waiting for the larger Russian retaliation, which a lot of people expect to be very severe, as, of course, there's also reports of the Russians moving troops away from the eastern front line in order to deal with this larger kind of incursion that they previously never had to deal with before. All of this is Russia just announced that they're beefing up their border defenses, as a lot of geopolitical experts have a lot of serious questions to how long the Ukrainians could actually hold on this larger offensive. This as the United Kingdom has just announced that Ukraine can use its weapons inside of Russian territory, something that was in major dispute a few months ago, but was allowed after, again, the Ukrainians just did whatever they wanted. And yeah, that was bad in the court of public opinion, but in our reality, it was probably allowed. All of this as CNBC now is reporting what's next from here. Will they go into further Russian territory? Will they retreat before it's, quote, too late? As we're hearing that the Ukrainians have even surprised themselves with the success of their incursion, as they are currently occupying 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory. As the Russians have yet to mount a robust response to all of this, as we all kind of wait here, what will happen next, which is an important question. As, of course, I think it's fair to say that the Ukrainians are seeing the writing on the wall, and they're saying, oh, you know, if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance become president of the United States, this probably means we're going to have to negotiate for peace. Will they? Will the Russians actually kind of accept this deal? Well, only time will tell if, of course, Donald Trump wins. If, of course, Kamala Harris wins, I think it's fair to say that we're going to see these types of actions continued, as, of course, the proxy war has expanded and escalated to very grave proportions, as, according to a lot of geopolitical experts, we are extremely close towards an all-out nuclear war. To me, this conflict is stupid. It is ridiculous. It needed to end a long time ago. There's too many young Slavic men losing their lives. And if you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members, as, of course, war should never be the answer here. It should always be the last resort. And I think it's fair to say we have financed, we have poked, we have prodded, we have created a lot of problems in the Western world that, of course, we should be hyper-focusing on fixing rather than escalating and blowing things up. Again, the real losers here are the people told to do the fighting and the people told to pay for the larger economic consequences of an irresponsible group of individuals that literally want to see sacrificial bloodletting for absolutely no reason at all. That's just my opinion. That's just my perspective. Sign up to lookunfiltered.com. The conversation continues there with a brand new spanking video just available for members as of right now. I love you guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys signing up, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on lookunfiltered.com.